I'm recording it also so that you can see it. Those who are absent or can also, I'll share this video into your group. So this organism, if you look at it, this is called paramecium. Paramecium के बारे में पढ़े ना previous classes में. I think it was there for you from 6th class. You get to know about paramecium, amoeba, all these organisms. इसको slipper shape, चप्पल के shape का रहता है, if you can see it. So we call it as slipper shaped organisms, and it is paramecium. So how does paramecium give rise to it's a single parent. अगर paramecium में देखें तो we don't have male and female. So early organisms were like this. So how were these organisms reproducing? ये organisms में reproduction कैसे हो रहा था? They were splitting into two equal parts and they were dividing all their mitotic material. उनका nucleic material जो रहता था उनकी body का, उसको equally दो parts में वो लोग divide कर लेते थे, and then it used to get splitted into two parts, and that's how it divides into two organisms, and those two organisms into 4, 8, and it continues to multiply. So these organisms like paramecium, amoeba, and all were multiplying by this process, by splitting. वो पूरा उनका single body would get splitted into two parts, and reproduction takes place. Any doubts in this? Is it clear for you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can raise your hands also to show me that you have understood. Or if you have not understood, please ask me. Have you written it down? This paramecium give rise to more of its kinds from a single parent by simply splitting into two parts. Yes? Do you know how to raise hands? Except Ross, nobody is active. I'm not able to understand whether others are listening to it or not. Hasifa, Butul, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Hasifa, Hasifa, are you there? Switch on your camera, Hasifa. So Hasifa, you are able to, because you are the one you were saying you have a problem in online. So अभी समझ में आया what were we talking about? अभी join करें आप.
ये रहे खोज के कुछ नतीजे.
Yes. Chat box में type करिए whether you have understood it or not. Type it in the chat box, everybody. Have you understood about parameciums? What happens to the paramecium or not? How does paramecium reproduce? See, children, if you waste your time like this, we cannot help you. We are giving you extra time, extra efforts, so that you should have no problems and you should be able to pass your exams with good marks. But if you just sit silently like this, we cannot help you. You have to be active in the chat box. Keep typing whether you all have understood it or not. And have you noted down the statement that paramecium give rise to more of its kinds from a single parent by simply splitting into two parts? understood what it is. Okay, how reproduction or regeneration. Reproduction, what's the other name of reproduction? Is regeneration. Okay,
Region.
so
Oh,
reproduction or regeneration takes place in different organisms in different ways. So if you look at this primitive organism called paramecium, it is simply gets splitted into two parts, and that's how reproduction in paramecium takes place. So now we can see what all are the organisms that are present in paramecium that is ये आपको paramecium में जब आएगा reproduction, so this is very important to understand कि how it takes place. And what do you mean by oral groove? You can see a oral groove. Oral groove बोले तो वो रहेगा जहां से paramecium takes its food, nutrition, उसका mouth part रहेगा. So it give rise to more of its kind by splitting this head. So split किस चीज में split हो रहा है? You know what is the main organelle in the cell that is responsible for reproduction? Do any one of you know? Parts of cell मालूम है? Cell के parts? So which part in the cell takes organelle in the cell takes part in reproduction? Anybody knows it? Would like to give try out? Chat box में type करिए if you know it, or unmute yourself and answer. Yes, Ross, you wanted to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what all are the organelles that are present in a cell? Human body is made up of, yes?
Human body is made up of cells.
Yes, very good.
A group of cells called tissue.
Yes, very good.
And in cell, there is nucleus.
Yes, that is where, you know, the organelle that takes participate in reproduction is nucleus. So except Muhammad Ghaus, nobody is, you don't even remember what are the organelles that are present inside the cells to understand reproduction. So now we cannot go into it, but please be active, try to listen and understand what is being taught. So nucleus is the main organelle that takes part in reproduction. So you can see that there are two types of nucleic division that takes place in paramecium. Paramecium में जो nucleus है एक रहेगा macro and the other is micro. So macro is dividing emitotically. Emitotical division एक रहेगा और एक mitotical division रहेगा. So emitotical, what is the difference between emitotical division and mitotical division? Let us see. So what is happening, you know, macronucleus जिसमें emitotical division हो रहा है, it divides its the entire content on equal halves. You can see that how it is dividing into equal parts. ताकि उनके chromosomes and what all are is nucleic material. Nucleus के अंदर जो material रहता है, it is called as a nucleic material. And chromosome is very important to carry your genetic. You see that people say that how do you look identical with your parents? आपके मम्मी और डैडी से आपका resemblance किस वजह से रहता? Because of the chromosomes that are present inside the nucleus. तो वो chromosomes का equal division is very important. अगर वो division हम generally कभी देखते हैं कि some of the कोई बच्चे हैं या ऑफस्प्रिंग्स इन द एनिमल्स और एनी लिविंग ऑर्गेनिजम्स, वो कुछ अबनॉर्मल से होते हैं. उनका वो व्हेन दे आर बोर्न दे हैव सम प्रॉब्लम्स और द चैलेंजेस. So that is because if this nucleic division is not properly done inside the cell, अगर उनके cell में ये nucleic division proper नहीं हो रहा है, या chromosomes are not dividing properly, we can see that these offsprings are not normal. They become abnormal. So we have even got contractile vacuoles inside it. You can see a contractile vacuole रहेगा paramecium में, which is responsible. ये contract मतलब opening and closing, कोई चीज open and close जो होते रहती है उसको contractions बोलते हैं, like heart contraction of hearts. When I don't know whether you have understood the chapter of heart also or not. In that, how the heart contracts, you see the systolic and diastolic movements of the heart. When you are checking the blood pressure of a patient, which is systolic and which is diastolic, if we say 120 by 80 is the blood pressure, so which is systolic and which is diastolic in it?
I,
Yes,
I
Butul?
think so. 120 is historical.
Systolic, SYSTOLIC. Systolic, very good. 120 is systolic and 80 is diastolic. So वो contractions बोलते movement, जो in and out movement of the heart होता है, वैसे ही contractile vacuoles होते हैं paramecium में, and they contract and they give rise to new contractile vacuoles. ये movement of the vacuoles is responsible for the functioning of the whole system, their nutritive system. या जिस तरह हमारे हाईली प्रोड्यूस्ड ऑर्गेनिजम्स है, जिसमें एक आप रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम है, डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम है आपके पास, देन सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम, नर्वस सिस्टम, वैसे ही within one cell of paramecium also you can see all those things. So this contractile vacuole is responsible. हमारा जैसा पूरा digestive system है, एक contractile vacuole is doing in paramecium. So you see that it has got one old, this new contractile vacuoles are equally, agar ye body mein one part of paramecium has got two, so even the new born paramecium will also have two contractile vacuoles. So abhi ye aise form hota hai and it gets divided and splitted into two parts. From equal center se ye divide hoga. तो ये क्या होता है, दिस हैपेंस सो रैपिडली एंड सेवरल ऑफ देम आर फॉर्म. तो ये इतना जल्दी जल्दी ये पैरामेशियम्स डिवाइड होते जाते हैं कि then they gives rise to the daughter paramecium. Similarly, if you look at the bacteria and other microorganisms, even in the curdling of milk, how does curd form from the milk? Can anybody tell me which bacteria is responsible? Yes. Sixth class mein you are having about curdling of milk, and which bacteria is responsible for the curdling of milk?
Lactobacillus.
Very good, lactobacillus bacteria. So a lactobacillus bacteria is responsible for the curdling of milk. और वो कितना fast split होता जाता है into. So similarly, all these microorganisms split, and कई times split होके millions and billions हो जाते हैं वो लोग within a few hours and minutes. That's the reason अब कुछ infection हो गया bacteria का या virus का. Why do people fall sick so easily? Because ये हमारे अंदर जो bacteria और viruses रहते हैं, they divide, multiply so fast, और आपकी body के पूरे cells को weak कर देते हैं. After a viral fever, a person becomes very weak. Immediately अगर उसको हम medicines नहीं देते, it can even become fatal. So this is how their growth, इनका growth बहुत fast होता है. Okay, very rapidly is very fast. So we can just see that it is dividing into 4 steps. In first step, you have seen that all the organs in the paramecium, they started dividing into equal things. And then in second step, you can see oral groove. उनका जहां पर oral groove है, नया oral groove form होना शुरू हो रहा है. You can see that there is one more new oral groove that is been forming in the second step. And in third step, हम देख सकते हैं कि दो नए contractile vacuoles have been developed in them. Okay. And then it has splitted into so that's how the paramecium has been divided into two equal parts. And similarly, we can see that every organism has got unke andar har cell, like how paramecium has divided, a cell divides, and that's how the new organisms are formed. So you can see it happening in frog, you can see it happening in penguin, in elephant, in snake, and turtles. All these organisms, every organism has got its own way of dividing the cell into equal parts and splitting, and the cell splits. So there is a sex cell in the organisms where there are male and female organisms. Paramecium is a single parent organism. So we saw that a single cell was dividing its components, all the parts that are present inside it, into two equal parts, and then the daughter parameciums were taking birth. Now, if you look at the other organisms, the mechanism is different because male and female contributes to the equal. Male and female cells are, what is happening is these cells are uniting together, and they are exchanging their materials, and this material is equally divided, and that's how a new offspring is born. And every organism has got its different period of growth, months of growth. If you look at the human beings, can anybody tell me how many months does a human baby takes for takes for reproduction? How many months does it required in the mother's uterus for reproduction?
9 months, ma'am, I think so.
9 months.
9
Yes.
months.
Very good. And do you know which organism takes longer, the longest gestation? We called it as a gestation period. जो mother के पेट में baby develop हो रहा है, the amount of time it takes is called as a gestation period. So इस सबसे ज़्यादा gestation period, do you know which? इसमें picture में देख के बता सकते हैं आप कौन से animal का होगा gestation period सबसे ज़्यादा?
Turtle.
Turtle takes, are you sure?
I think, ma'am.
Elephant.
Yes, elephant. Elephant का सबसे ज्यादा होता है. फिर भी this question is up to you. You have to search in the Google and find out. As far as I know, it is elephant. It could be turtle also, I think. So elephant takes 10 to, I think it takes 11 or 10, 11 months, 11 to 12 months of gestation period. I don't know how much is turtles. So find out. Whereas human beings takes 9 months. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So there could be certain environmental conditions are also important. जो climate होता है, which helps in faster process of reproduction of these animals. So you have studied already about hibernation of the organisms that is dependent upon the climatic conditions. They go underground and they hibernate. Hibernation, have you ever studied about hibernation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So now let us see how is this bacterial. I was just talking to you about kaise paramecium divides, So ye bacterial, you were talking about lactobacillus bacteria. Lacto is the Greek or Latin word for milk. हम milk जो बोलते हैं उसको Latin या Greek में lacto बोलते हैं. Lactobacillus bacteria. तो जो बैक्टीरिया मिल्क को कर्ड में कन्वर्ट करता है, we call it as a lactobacillus bacteria. तो let us see ये जब कर्ड बन रहा है तो how is this bacteria dividing very fast into colonies of the bacteria and curdling is taking place. Okay, ये you all know the process very well कि कैसे दही घर में तो सब लोग जमाते हैं ना. Do you all know, have you ever seen the process कैसे होता है? Yes. Any one of you have seen how we have got only 5 minutes left? So be very quick, and after that do you rejoin again so that one complete concept we can complete and you can write it tomorrow in the exam. The curdling of milk वाला जो experiment है ये आपको school में Monday के दिन लिखना है. We'll have the classes on Sunday also because you have got limited time and we have got a whole chapter to complete. So Samreen, you know how it takes place. कैसे होता है? आप कभी घर में मम्मी जब दही जमाते, nobody has seen how it is happening. घर में आप लोग के दही जमाते या you always get it from outside? You get curd from outside or you get it done at home also, or have you ever observed how your mother does it, prepares curd at home? Anybody has seen it happening at home?
They get
Yes,
it from
ma'am. In
outside
milk,
only, ma'am.
we have
Every
to add spoon of curd and then we have to keep it for some time.
Very good. You have seen that in the milk you
Yes.
are adding a spoon of curd and you are keeping it for some time. और वो जो milk
Yes.
रह रहा है वो milk आप have you ever observed कि वो milk कैसा रहता है? वो गर्म रहता है, ठंडा रहता है या कुनकुना होता है?
कुनकुना रहता मैम, ना ज्यादा गर्म ना था.
Yes. तो एक टेम्परेचर आपको उसका मेंटेन करना पड़ता है. तो यू हैव गॉट दिस
Yes.
एक्सपेरिमेंट टू सी हाउ कर्डलिंग बैक्टीरिया कौन से टेम्परेचर में सबसे फास्ट ग्रो होते हैं. तो इफ यू सी ल्यूकवार्म, जब मिल्क इज ल्यूकवार्म, कुनकुना दूध रहता है ना, तब कर्ड बहुत जल्दी जम जाता है. अगर वो बहुत हॉट होता है तो इट टेक लॉन्ग टाइम. Agar if it is very cold, then also it takes very, very long time. So bacteria requires a type of temperature that helps in the curdling of milk. Wahan par bacteria starts growing very fast. So when the milk is lukewarm, you can see how the colonies of lactobacillus bacteria multiplies and convert that milk into a curd. So we are seeing that you have added a teaspoon of, do this experiment at home today and check how the curdling is. एक 3 cups ले लो, वो 3 cups में एक में cold milk रखो, एक में lukewarm रखो, एक में hot रखो, and then you add curd, a spoon of curd into all this. अगर आप एक एक कप रख रहे हैं तो आधा आधा टी स्पून ऑफ कर्ड आप हर कप में डाल दीजिए. And then you look at the time, कौन सी कप में सबसे फास्ट कर्डलिंग इज टेकिंग प्लेस. जहां पर कर्डलिंग सबसे ज्यादा हो रही है, that means that is very congenial environment for the lactobacillus bacteria to reproduce. So you can even put the thermometer and measure the temperature of all the milks, and then you can see that कौन से temperature पे सबसे fast curdling and takes place. We have got 1 minute remaining. After that, again, please join with the same link. So
Okay,
here in this experiment, you can see how it is being added into 2 warm and the cold milk, and then that is closed, and we are waiting for an hour to observe what happens to the curd. So if you can see, you are removing, and if you are closing also, you are able to retain what temperature आप maintain कर सक रहे हैं. Then you can see how the colonies of bacteria warm milk में form होना शुरू हो गए. देखिए आप, within an hour. And it take same time in both the bowls? it will not take same time. You know, that you have to observe and tell me your experimentation and find out where the curdling takes place very, and let me know how is this knowledge going to help you. आपको यह knowledge किसी तरीके से मदद करने वाली है to know about this? Will this help you in any way in your life?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
कैसा हेल्प करेगी आपको ये मालूम होने से, इससे क्या होने वाला है?
We
We
can
will
convert milk into curd.
we will prepare our own curd.
Yes, at
Yes.
home you can prepare your own curd, and you will know how this gestation period of this bacteria and how is the inside, you know, you don't know the inside story. आप खाली देख रहे हैं कि curdling हो रही है, but उसके अंदर क्या क्या process हो रहा है. There is a big process that is happening inside the bacteria, both the you know, which is dividing into all the